Hi there, and welcome to another episode of the Heart to Heart series. And on today, I wanted to ask, how is your pressure? Blood pressure, that is. And so my name is Deitra Dennis, and I am the founder of Full Circle Health Coaching LLC. I am also the heart health coach, and I work with Black women who value, own, and invest in their heart health. Invest in their health, and I empower them with evidence-based and culturally relevant lifestyle interventions that supports them on their journey to optimal heart health. And the Heart to Heart series is really a girl talk. It's a talk from the heart about the heart. And we do that over a glass of red wine. I do quotes because it's not really wine, it is hibiscus tea, because hibiscus have health benefits that relaxes the blood vessels, thereby lowering the blood pressure. So that is our drink of choice over here. And before we get into the content, I want to invite you to subscribe to the YouTube channel, like this video, click on the notification bell so you're alerted when a new video is posted. Share the video with someone that you feel could benefit from the information that I share. And lastly, this is girl talk, so let's have a little girl talk in the comment section. So, receipt. Okay, we're going to get it together. Leave your comments below, and I look forward to speaking with you and having conversation with you there. So without further ado, let's go ahead and pour up our red wine and cheers to you. And again, I ask you, how is your pressure? Again, your blood pressure. So can you believe it's been a little over a month when we completed our 6-part series of Create a New Legacy? And remember, we created that 6-part series because we wanted to change the narrative of how our Black women, our heart health, we talked about what the staggering numbers were. We had 50,000 women who pass away a year from heart disease. And the other one that stood out, especially about the blood pressure, is that more than 50% of Black women have received a diagnosis of high blood pressure. And then from that, over 80% of those that have a diagnosis, the blood pressure is uncontrolled. So that's why that 6-part series was created, so that we can change that narrative. And so I wanted to just do a follow-up and check in, because this is May is the National Blood Pressure Education Month. And I just wanted to check in to see how you're doing. Have you followed any of those 6 things that we went over? First of all, identifying your risk and things of that nature. Have you been checking your blood pressure? Have you had a conversation with your doctor? So this video won't be as long today. So again, it's a check in on how you're doing, and then just sharing refresher of some self-care tips for a healthy blood pressure. That sounds good to you? So again, I hope that your blood pressure, you've had great readings, and that you've been drinking your hibiscus tea, because as I say in the beginning, that it is, the health benefit is that it relaxes the blood vessels and lowers the blood pressure. So if you see me looking down, I'm looking at my notes, but there are 4 self-care tips, again, for a healthy blood pressure. A lot of this, again, is a refresher from what we talked about. It's just condensed because I went into detail when we had the 6-part series, and the link to that series is below this video. So number 1, knowing your risk. Remember, that was in the intro video when I talked about gathering your family heart health history, because you want to know what your lineage or your family, how many people have received a diagnosis of a heart disease or passed away early because of a heart attack or something of that nature. You want to know that, okay? So that was number 1, knowing your risk. So have you done that? Did you do it yet? There was we had Easter or Resurrection Sunday Many people gathered. Did you have an opportunity to ask some questions then while you were kind of casual, no investigation going on, but, just having casual conversation and asking the questions? Did you do it? All right. Number two, questions to ask your healthcare provider. And we did that. That was in part 2 of the series. Have you had a conversation with your doctor? And we, went over what those questions were. Once you gather that information about your family, taking that to the doctor and creating or starting a conversation with your healthcare provider at the time. Have you done that? There were questions again, what are your risks? What was your blood pressure? And then, what can you do to reduce your blood pressure or reduce your risk? There were other questions that we went over, but again, that was in part 2. Then the third tip, self-care tip for a healthy blood pressure, checking your blood pressure. Okay. So in part 3, we went over the blood pressure categories. There were 5. So it was normal, elevated, hypertension stage 1, stage 2, and a hypertensive crisis. Where are you on that with the categories? Have you been checking it on your own? And so that leads into this other part with checking your blood pressure. Are you checking it at home, especially if you're at risk, if you have a diagnosis of have received a diagnosis of high blood pressure, or if you're on high blood pressure medication? Are you checking your blood pressure at home? Because remember, there were false readings. So if you're only waiting or having your blood pressure checked when you go to your doctor's visit, it could have a false reading. Remember, we talked about the white coat high blood pressure, meaning when you go into the doctor, it may cause a little stress or anxiety for you when you see the healthcare provider in a white coat. It may cause your blood pressure to be higher than normal. So that is why it's important to check the blood pressure at home. We also talked about masked hypertension, which is, high blood pressure when you're at home. It may be higher if you're not checking it accurately, or if you have stressors at home, it could be higher then. So that is why it's important to track at the doctor's office, write that number down. And then when you're at home, or throughout the series, I also talked about you can go to the fire station. They do have blood pressure screening. They usually have a set time when they're checking blood pressure. So again, checking your blood pressure. And number 4, commit to a healthy blood pressure lifestyle. So we talked about moving more, becoming active, being active, at minimum 30 minutes most days of the week. And we talked about eating having a heart healthy way of eating, being sure you have a power plate. And that includes having whole grains, your vegetables, your fruit, and beans, having that on your plate. That also helps your self-care tip. I'm sorry, with committing to a healthy blood pressure. And then aiming for a healthy weight. We talked about that. I also talked about that in one of the videos recently about are you a triple threat, when we talked about, your waistline. So again, that matters. And then managing your stress. That was one of the other tips we talked about. And if you go to the series, it was actually the 6th video of the series where we talked about the different lifestyle choices or interventions to really help you live at your heart health and a healthy blood pressure. So again, the video is not as long today. I just wanted to check in to see how your blood pressure is. And as a recap, those 4 self-care tips for a healthy blood pressure. Number 1 is knowing your risk. Number 2 are questions to ask your healthcare provider, or engaging with your healthcare provider. Because remember, you are the CEO of your health. So you are an active participant in your health. And number 3, check your blood pressure. And number 4, committing to a heart healthy lifestyle. Okay, so I hope that this has been of value to you. That's all I have to share with you today. So I invite you, if you would like to connect further with me, to go over to my Facebook page. which is Full Circle Health Coaching LLC. And if you would like to become a part of the community and opt into my weekly newsletters, go over to fullcirclehealthcoachingllc.com. And we'll look forward to you joining us there, and I'll take good care of you. So until we meet next week, you know how I like to end it, and reminding you that you are the full circle, and within you is the power to create, nurture, and transform. So again, until next week, walk in your power.